Welcome back, Scratch developers. In our previous lesson, we discussed about step-by-step instruction. So in today's lesson, we'll be talking about flow charts, basic flow charts. So at the end of this lesson, you have an awaiting quiz. What is a flow chart? Which shape represent the start and end? Which shape is used for a process? Which shape is used for a decision? What do arrows show? What does a decision usually ask? Which symbol is used for input or output? Every flowchart should begin with dash dash. Why do programmers use flowcharts? Every flowchart should end with dash dash. So by the end of this lesson, you should also be able to understand what a flowchart is, explain why flowcharts are useful, identify common flowchart symbols, flow a simple flow chart from start to finish, create a basic flowchart for an everyday activity. So let's start. What is a flowchart? A flowchart is a picture that shows the step of a process in the correct order. It is a picture that shows the step of a process in the correct order. Instead of writing instruction in sentences, programmers use shapes connected by arrows. A flowchart helps us see how something works from the beginning to the end. Think of it as a roadmap that shows every step you need to follow. So everything you need on flowchart is available on this picture. The start and end has the same symbol. Process is a rectangular shape. Decision is a diamond shape. We use it to ask questions, yes or no. And the fourth one is input and output. This is for process also. Shows information entering or leaving the system. Example, enter your name, enter your password, enter your date of birth. All we need to do is to use this input. If information is to use this shape, if information is entering into the system or leaving out of the system as a message, we need to use this shape. And the shape is what? Parallelogram. The fifth one is arrow to connect the shapes together. We use arrow. It shows the direction of the process. So why do we use flowcharts? Flowchart helps us to organize our ideas, plan before writing a program, solve problems step by step, make decisions, make instructions easier to understand, find mistakes before coding, explain ideas to other people. Programmers often draw a flowchart before they begin coding. So everyday example of flowcharts, many daily activities can be shown using a flowchart. Examples include brushing our teeth, washing our hands, making a tea, going to school, cooking noodles, charging a phone. Each activities follow a sequence of steps, part of a flowchart. A flowchart is made up of shapes, arrows, words inside the shapes. The arrow shows the direction from one step to another. So these are the symbols we use to make a flowchart. The start and end, the start at the beginning, the end at the end. Process shows an action or task. Like brush teeth, we use what? Rectangle. Decision to ask question. And we use this shape for input or to output a message. An arrow to connect our shapes. And it also shows the direction of the process from step 1 to step 2 to step 3 up to the end. Common flowchart symbols, the start and end terminator. The end, we call it the terminator. Start, that's the beginning of the flowchart, and end in another name is called terminator. This is the symbol for the start. Shape over. The shape is over. Purpose, it shows where the process begins and where it finishes. Examples, start, end. Then we move to process. The shape is rectangular shape. It's a rectangular shape, and we call it process. Purpose shows an action or a task. It shows an action or a task. Examples, wake up. We will use what? Process in this place. Brush teeth. It's also an action. We use it in this rectangular shape. Turn on a computer. It's also a process. Enter a password. That is a process, but enter a password. We use parallelogram. The next one is decision. Shape is diamond. The shape is diamond, used for decisions. Purpose, we use this shape to ask questions. Example, is it raining? If yes, we use umbrella. If no, we don't use umbrella. Or we go home, right? Imagine that we are in the school, then somebody asks you, is it raining? If yes, you bring out your umbrella. If no, you don't need to bring out your umbrella. The answer is usually yes. If it is no, you say no, we follow the no direction. Example, is the computer on? If yes, what do? You use the computer. Thus, you go for another process. If no, you have to turn on the computer. Otherwise, we cannot use the computer. So we keep going back until we turn on the computer. Yes means continue. No means turn it on. Then we move to the next shape, which is input and output. So the input and output are also like process, but for input and output, we use them to enter an information or information leaving our system. That's the difference. The shape is parallelogram. The purpose shows information entering or leaving the system. Examples, enter your name. That's an input. Enter your name. Output, display welcome. Or another example is enter your name. Welcome, Mr. John. Enter your name. I enter Mr. John. The system replies with welcome, Mr. John. So we will have two parallelogram. The first one, enter my name. The next one, below it, welcome. So that's how we use it. So the arrow, which is the fifth one, we use arrows to show direction of the process. Arrows connect all the symbols together. Without arrows, we won't know which steps come next. Order of a flowchart. Order of a flowchart. Every flowchart follows this pattern. Start, step 1, step 2, step 3, up to step N, and then we end our program. The order is very important. Never skip any steps, please. How flowchart helps programmers. Before writing code, programmers usually think about the problem. They draw the solution, check if every step makes sense, find mistakes. Programmers also improve the solution if there is need. Begin coding with the help of their flowchart. Flowchart makes programming easier. Rules for drawing good. Flowchart. Rules for drawing good flowchart. Always start with start and with an end. Use arrows. Keep steps simple. Write one action per process box. Use decision diamonds only for questions. Keep arrows pointing in one direction. So let's have an activity. Arrange these steps correctly. Wear shoes, wake up, eat breakfast, go to school. So tell us the correct arrangement. If you don't have this order, that means something is wrong. You have to do it over again. Wake up, eat breakfast, wear our shoes, and we go to school. So this is the representation of this activity in the flowchart. Activity number 2, decision practice. Let's practice. The question is it raining? If yes, we use umbrella. If no, we go outside and play, all right? So we have the representation in flowchart. We start with an oval, and the question is it raining? We use a diamond shape. No, we go outside, and we end the flow. We end like this. That is the end. Is it raining? Yes. We bring out our umbrella and we end the program. So here we need to go outside before we end the program. Is it raining? Yes. Use an umbrella, then go outside, and we end the program. We end the activity. So in summary today, we learned what a flowchart is, why flowcharts are important, common flowchart symbols, the oval, the process, the arrows, and the diamonds. How to read a flowchart. We also learn how to create a simple flowchart. We also learn why programmers use flowchart before they start coding. So that's the end of today's lesson. See you next session.